Just as we're sleeping at nighttime and we have a dream, awakening is really about waking up from this daytime dream of thought, emotion, and form, and realizing that we are far more than that. It's not to exclude your emotions or your thoughts or your form. It's just that you're not limited to these tiny fragments.
Where does that dream reside, actually? It just kind of lives in thoughts, right? I mean, because emotions are attached to thoughts.
This is really the only essential question on this path, is who is this I? When we say I, who is that? Personal growth and self-help pathways deal with a life situation and how to improve that separate sense of self to make it better. Awakening goes back to who is this I that you are improving, that you think that you are improving. And we find that it is itself only a thought. I. We've been taught innocently enough by our parents that when we say I, we're talking about our form. But with a willingness to be a little curious about this false assumption, find out whether it's really true, rather than just an inherited assumption. Is it really true that I is the body? And if it's not the body, then who are you?
It's kind of like a promise, like certain people that are telling us that, check it out. There's something to find out.
Yes, and it's not something that you have to become. It's something that you essentially are right now, right here. Your fulfillment, completely self-satisfied. Joy.
So in other words, joy is inherent in what we really are.
That's right.
So and then all the other joy that we're searching to modify and polish up and find is not going to be necessarily the real joy.
No, you could search for the idea of joy in a horizontal manner within the life circumstance, and you will never find joy. It's from a deeper essence within you. So,
in other words, our joyous moments that we think came from getting a new car or because our child graduated from college or something like that is actually just being in touch with our basic nature.
Yes, and in an instant that has been acquired, let's say the new car, in an instant there is no more desire. So there's a sense of contentment and completion. The car didn't cause the happiness. It's just for a moment you were free of desire, this individual sense of self that it always senses some type of lack. So when desire leaves, we feel fulfilled. And of course then discontentment arises again, and we think maybe the car wasn't it, or that particular mate wasn't the right mate, and so we start searching again for another desire, and that search will be endless because of the pain gap that's inherent in this tiny sense of self that thinks it's a fraction of totality.
Let's say what the pain gap is, because maybe we're not clear on that.
Just intellectually and conceptually for a moment, if there is this totality, and I refer to that as the heart, and then from this infinite love, someone tells you that you're limited to your body, and you're this tiny fraction. Well, you haven't even begun living life yet, and you already believe in the pain gap. You sense this lack. There's a separation. You've made yourself into an object. You experience your body as another object within the field of awareness that you are. And so, of course, it feels lack. And it tries to add other fractions to it. You know, the new car, the other mate, more and more fractions to try to make itself whole. But in the end, we see that a fraction will always be a fraction.
Mm-hmm. In other words, what you're saying, if I get it right, is that the pain gap is something that's it's subconscious, or we don't really necessarily have to be conscious of it. I mean, it's operating in us, and we can feel it. Mm-hmm. It's like this urge to, or this discontent, or basic discontent, or something like that. And you're saying that from a certain vantage point, you can see that it's just because we're not aware of our wholeness. We're operating as a fraction.
Right. We just assumed it to be true because our parents taught us. And so for awakening, we become very curious about virtually every concept and belief that we have assumed to be true. But primarily, and first and foremost, is who is I? Who am I? And that's virtually the only obstruction between the fraction that you think you are and the infinite love and joy and conscious freedom that you actually are. Not after 25 years of spiritual practice, but virtually right now.